Whoa, my cord is off here. Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits. I hope you're having a nice Memorial Day weekend. I went out on the front porch this morning and the sky was perfectly blue. So simple. Like it goes back to the beginning. You have a few days of clouds and the weather's different and it might be raining or cloudy or half and half or this or that, and then suddenly it all breaks and you go outside and the sky is perfectly blue. It's like it's restored to its original beginner's mind. Its original zero. And so I thought I would just take that idea and see where it goes. I looked in my bookcase and I found an old book by Suzuki-roshi. Here he is. And it's almost faded. I can barely read it. It's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And it was written and put together in 1970. And they were the collection of talks by Suzuki-roshi, who was a Zen master in the Soto tradition, who came to America in the 50s and was so pleased with the Americans' receptivity and need for Zen that he stayed in San Francisco and taught there, and created some Zen centers that are still existing today. And this little book is a classic little book. It's only cost $5.95 when I got it, and it's just very simple, and it basically is the essence of Zen. And so I talk a lot about Zen, and I even called this talk Zen Fits. And I can't really describe Zen because I'm not a Zen Buddhist. I don't go to Zen monasteries and sit in Zen temples, and I've never met any Zen Roshis, which I guess means teacher. However, I love to read the writings of the Zen masters and the simplicity and I'm 80 years old, and so I'm really, this as we get older we simplify and we begin to understand the beauty of simplicity and just being here. Like my mother said, as I often repeat, when she was 100, she said, why do you know why I'm happy? She said, because I have no future. I'm just here. I'm glad to be here. Every day is beginner's mind. Every day, every moment is beginner's mind. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that. One of my favorite quotes from T.S. Eliot is, we shall not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. It's kind of like spiritual Alzheimer's in a way, to know the place for the first time. And then I thought of Avatar, my favorite all-time movie. Avatar is about Zen. It's about beginner's mind. It's about getting back to ground zero. Jake Sully, the hero of Avatar, a reluctant hero. He didn't even know he's a hero. He just got drafted to go on this trip. And he goes through the process of letting go of the it mind, or the sky people. Now, in what Suzuki says in his opening chapter, which I wrote on the board, is that in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. And so that just kind of like sinks in. with Avatar, for instance, if we use that as our movie metaphor, which is the way I see movies, a movie metaphor is a movie that we can use to pry open insight through a story. Okay, so Jake Sully begins to let go of his sky people mind, which is the very reality he believed was the only reality. The sky people believed or saw everything as an it. The Navi were its, the home tree was it. It's all names and forms, and it's all known, and it's all put in place, and it's all set. Kind of like Jell-O, it's kind of like everything is set, and everything's in it. And so all of that for Jake Sully in the Avatar was basically removed, and he stumbled into beginner's mind. He stumbled into his own beginner's mind, which was the wonder of Pandora and the exploration of his own body. If you remember, he had to go through boot camp on how to leap out of trees and how to bond with the Navi horses and dragons, you see. So he had to discover his basic original body. And he had to clear the clouds of his expert knowledge and the known and come down to ground zero. And there's an interesting thing about ground zero. We use it a lot, get down to basics, get down to simplicity, get down to ground zero. Of course, 9/11 was the most famous ground zero because unintentionally we got down to ground zero. The whole thing collapsed, you see. So there's this idea of the zero. And if you notice about zero as a number, it's at the center. There's nothing there. And then you start adding numbers. You start adding pluses. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it goes to infinity. But at the same time, you have to add negatives to the infinitive. So there's this idea here of ground zero, zero, and out of zero, you have positive numbers being added, and you have taken away. Both equal. You can't have more positive than negative. If you add up all the positive, it'll come to the same zero, sum zero, as all the negative. So this is sum zero. And even in physics, in the cosmology, if you add up all of the matter, it'll equal all of the antimatter. It all comes to zero. The universe comes to sum zero. The universe comes to balance. So everything that we add, and this is another in another movie. There are many mythological symbols and metaphors for this positive and negative. In The Life of Pi, you had the carnivorous island. And Pi went there and he left, kind of like Odysseus went to one of his islands and said, I can't stay here, I got to go on. So what was the carnivorous island a symbol for? It was a symbol for the world of the world of form as a pair of opposites. And he said about the carnivorous island, what it gives during the day, it takes away at night. So it's the idea of what positives you add during the day, at night, they're going to be taken away. So whenever you add a positive, whenever you gain something, there's going to be a minus that balances it, because it has to come to zero. It has to come to some zero. And this is why whenever we, the whole idea of the phenomenal form, the world that we live in, the known world we live in, is like a teeter-totter. You gain this, but then at night, or the world takes it away. Whatever you add is going to be balanced with a negative. But, you see, we perceive the world as if this is, we attain this and we lose over here. And this is ripped, what we lose is ripped from us, you see. We blame. There's blame here. It's the idea that I should be able to just keep on winning. I should be able to just keep on getting positive stuff. And if I lose stuff, well, then somebody's to fault. And if I could just remove that fault and fix that, I would always be winning. And I would never lose, you see. Does that sound familiar? So this is a misperception of reality that is always balancing out as zero, as beginner's mind. In other words, that is where reality is. Reality is not in our knowledge that we have accumulated. Do you realize how much knowledge we have accumulated? Just go to a library. Well, we've got so much knowledge we can't even put it in a library now. We have to have it in a computer. So so Google is kind of like an electronic library. All the knowledge of mankind is in Google, but it's all known, you see. There's no unknown in Google. You can't Google up what you don't know. I mean, Google will assume, did you mean this? And it will add that, but that's known, you see. So all this is plus, you see. All this that we've acquired is like a mountain of knowledge, you see. And we keep trying to get to, where are we trying to get, you see? We're trying to get to zero. Like here, I have a little treadmill. I have a little treadmill in my other room, and it's an interesting metaphor for this the treadmill of life. So I'm running on the treadmill, and my body is running, but I'm not going anywhere. But in my mind, I'm going somewhere. I'm going to lose some belly fat or something. I got to do something, so I got an idea. I'm on there for some reason. And if I'm looking, I don't have one, but if I have a TV screen, then it can be a show a road, and I can be, I'm running on a road, and look at the mountains and all that, that beautiful scenery. So I'm really going in there, but the fact is I'm at ground zero. The fact is I'm not going anywhere, you see, but in my mind I'm in time. So out of zero, out of ground zero, out of zero comes time, future and past. It's getting a little complicated here, but you see the idea that we believe our world, the world we perceive, is a world in which you and I are in time, like you're on a map. You're in time, and space-time is a reality. You can't have space without time, or time without space. Time means something's moving, so you have to have something to move. Otherwise, you can't. There's no time. There's nothing to measure. So time is a measurement. Time is measured from zero plus to how long will it take me to get there? Well, it will take you 20 pluses, 20 minutes, 20 hours, 20 years. So there's a measurement, you see, from zero. So everything starts now. And the misperception we have of reality, which Zen corrects, is that there is that we are at and always at zero, but we perceive we are at some place in time. Well, we are at some place in time, but that is a secondary awareness that we need just to catch a bus and fix dinner. How long is it before dinner? Okay, so it's going to be ready in 20 minutes. But where I exist, you see, where I abide, is zero. I am always abiding in now. but my mind is creating a hologram of space-time so my body can get food and I can fix stuff, you see. But we forget that we are abiding in zero. So if the whole idea of beginner's mind is abiding in zero, is abiding in the clear blue sky before the clouds of time come and the anxieties and the worries and all of the confusions and the mist and the storms and the lightning and all that. So the blue sky is the beginner's sky. The blue sky is ground zero. The blue sky is balance. That's an important word. Balance, you see. If I can return to beginner's mind, possibilities are infinite because I'm beginning at the beginning. I am back where I started and I'm knowing the place for the first time. And when I know the place for the first time, I see possibilities out of the conditions that I'm in. Possibility doesn't mean that you can create something that is not supported by conditions. In other words, conditions create the possibilities. But in order to see the possibilities in the conditions that you're in, this, by the way, is the MacGyver principle. You know, the TV show MacGyver. I love that because whenever he's in a fix, he returns to ground zero and he sees the possibilities available in the conditions to get out of the fix. So the beginner's mind is a creative mind. The ground zero mind is a creative mind because it's going to create a reality out of what's given that will get him out of a fix, that will move life forward, you see. So when we are in an expert mind, there are limited possibilities because everything is limited by what we know. In the beginner's mind, in some zero mind, we're available to the unknown because the now is unknown. Now this is something that this was interested in Avatar because Pandora was the unknown to Jake Sully when he had ventured into it, you see. To the sky people, it was already mapped out. You knew what everything was. And they were there to obtain unobtainium. They were there to attain, and they were there to restore balance. They were there to restore, I don't know what I'm doing there. They were there to restore balance to their world by getting this material. So the problem with our life is that we're seeking balance, we're seeking some zero, we're seeking rest by attaining something and avoiding the negative, so that we're constantly out of balance as we try to attain balance. So this whole idea of Zen, this whole idea of the beginner's mind is to not attain something, you can't attain what you already are. If we already are zero, you can't attain it. So anything you do to try and get to zero and rest and balance is going to throw you off balance. And so the negative side, you see, keeps attacking the positive side. And so we get caught in a tape loop or karma. So we're always trying to get rid of the negative, get rid of the pain, get rid of death, get rid of the negative, get rid of the down, and just have up. And we're always constantly amazed, frustrated, disappointed when we think we've got all the up we need and now we got a down. Where'd that down come from? Where did the down come from? Well, the down and the up are all one. The down and the up are one. It's our old friend, yin and yang. Okay? Yin, yang, go round and round, chasing each other. So the whole point of Zen, to sum this up, this wandering, is that Zen is not in attaining something or losing something. Zen is seeing something. Seeing. Now, seeing is very interesting, because when you see something, there is no effort in it. You just see it. You know what it's like to make effort to see something? When you get one of these puzzles and you say, can you see the duck in the puzzle? And you try to see it, I try to see it, I can't see it, I can't see it. And then you relax, oh, I see it. Or you forget the name of somebody, I can't remember it, and you relax, oh, there it is. It just pops in. So seeing just pops in. Seeing just pops up. And you go, ah, aha. And that's what Zen calls Satori, seeing. You see ground zero. You see the zero that balances the positive and the negative. And when you see zero, there is no positive and negative. It all collapsed to beginner's mind. And you're back where you started. Aha, I see. I see, you see. So Zen is abiding, is the practice of abiding in constant seeing. The intention of Zen is to see. The intention of Zen is to trip and fall into ground zero, into zero, where everything is in balance. When you see the whole, and when you see the whole, all the parts are in balance. Everything integrates, and that gives you meaning. It's only the whole that gives you the meaning of the parts. So if our parts are all sprouted around, positives here, everybody's got a different piece of knowledge that they're saying is the whole. Everybody says, I got the whole truth, you see. And nobody's got the whole truth because no one is seeing the whole. Everybody is just seeing their piece of the whole that they believe is that believe is the whole. So we've got this fundamental intention in Zen, which is to basically relax and let the positives and the negatives settle out, and let the and to quit with the effort to know, and to quit with the struggle to bring balance, and just to let go, just to relax. And in that relaxing, in that letting go, seeing happens, like the blue sky after a stormy week. It was there all the time. The blue sky was there all the time. And it's so clear. It's so clear. So, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.